Okay, here we are. This is the plant wave. This is what I use to play music in my lives and in some of my videos. The link will be in my bio. You just hook it up to a plant and it plays the energetic music of the plant. Each plant is different. It's very interesting and I love it. So this is an apprentice tile. You can use any size tile, any paper, any pen, any pencil. And I'm going to start by putting 4 dots in the corner of this piece of paper because now it's not a blank piece of paper. There's no need to let the ego get all involved about where to put what because they don't want to put anything on this clean piece of paper. Now there's something on the paper. So the jig is up. We can go ahead and do some meditative art. I like to start by breathing in gratitude. Take a nice big inhale. Breathe in the things that make you happy, that you're appreciative for. On the exhale, get rid of all the junk. And at the same time, bring your shoulders down away from your ears. When you exhale, imagine all of that negative things, the things that make you feel bad, going right out your toes. And do this as many times as you feel necessary. For me, the most important part about Zentangle and being a Zentangle teacher is the journey to the end of the tangle, and the tangle is a bonus at the end. This is a kneadable eraser. This is a Micron 01 pen, which I'll be using, a regular pencil. And all of these items you can find in my link to my Amazon affiliate. I have a list that's called Tangle Supplies I use, and I also have kits in my Etsy shop, which also there's a link in my link tree for. We're going to do the Tangle Cadent, and on the back of this piece of paper, I am showing you how to do it just regular cadent. And you start with orbs. In the Zentangle method, we call circles orbs because it takes away the stigma of a circle having to be perfectly round. So here we call them an orb. So I am drawing orbs vertically and horizontally. And then I'm going to take and draw an elongated S shape. And what I'm going to do is take off and land. So you can see that I'm rounding the edge of the orb I'm going from and rounding the edge of the orb I'm going to. But this is an elongated letter S. And you're going to do that connecting each orb. Now, this is regular cadence, so we're just going to do it in lines. So you could do like that far left line and go all the way down, or across like I did. I do it different ways depending on my mood. Once you understand how this tangle works, the whole point of tangling is that you get so used to the repetition of what you're doing that the mind just has a moment to relax. To me, this is more about mindfulness art, being in the present moment versus thinking about things you don't have any control over, trying to think about bills, that kind of thing, when you're trying to take time out for you for self-care. That is what I really feel that this is about. So once we've done all of these, we're going to turn the paper 90 degrees, and we're going to do the same thing again. Now, whatever I'm tangling on, if it is a notebook from the Dollar Tree, whatever it is, I like to put my name on it, the date that I've tangled it, and what's happening at the time. So if there's a snowstorm here, I'll write snowstorm, whatever it is. And when I look back, I'll go, oh, I remembered that. That's very cool. And it's just one of those things that I really like to do with my tangles. So now I'm doing the same thing, but in the other direction. It's an elongated S, so I just act like those other S's aren't there. Now we're going to do the crazy one on the other side. And you can see that I've made a border with pencil, so I've just connected the 4 dots that we put with pencil. And I don't know if I'm going to ink that yet, so I didn't ink it. Now I am drawing different size orbs all over the paper, wherever you want. So the reason this is called crazy cadent is because we're not going to put them in that uniform fashion. We're going to have them just dispersed all over the place. I'm primarily going to have them connect in 3s instead of 4s. And you're going to see that without any rhyme or reason, it will turn out exactly the way it's meant to. So this is why I really, at the beginning of tangling, when I started years and years ago, I would have to tell my ego to just back off, because the ego wants everything perfect. And it wants your orbs to be a circle. It wants your lines to be straight and in the perfect place. And for me, art just isn't like that. And so I just have to tell it to sit back so that I can let my intuitive process and my creative process do whatever it wants. So now we're just going to pick random orbs to connect with Cadent. So we're going to take off and land with whichever ones we decide. And here's a close-up of the takeoff and land. I'm going to really hug and take off from this orb, and I'm going to go down to the next one and hug it as well. And so we're going to go ahead and breathe, be light with the pen, light with the pressure. Make sure you're not biting the inside of the cheek, clenching the jaw. We're going to take off and land. And we're going to do this throughout. There's no right or wrong. There's no mistakes. Just enjoy what's happening and have fun with it. And this is paper and pen. So I really recommend using whatever you have around the house. And when you want to get into the fancier things, you can. But I started from pens in the junk drawer, and I would tangle on whatever was in the recycling bin. I would take it out and turn it inside out and tangle on that. So now I'm finding another orb that I'm going to connect to. And again, the things that I really focus on while I'm doing this, which is what helps my mind to relax, is where do I feel like I'm holding my stress? Am I biting my lip, biting the inside of my cheek, clenching my jaw, holding the pen too tight? Did my shoulders sneak up and rise up to my ears? How many times do I find myself holding my breath while I draw this elongated S shape? And to correct those things as I go. Will they come back and will you do them again? Absolutely. It still happens to me after years and years of tangling that I catch myself doing it. And that's okay. All I do is not be judgmental, make sure that I'm breathing, and go again. Because I can't say this enough. For me, this is about the journey to the end of the tangle and the things I'm doing to help my self-care and me take care of me. Then it is the tangle. The tangle is just this amazing, cool bonus at the end. And I repeat the same things over and over again because I really found that that is what people enjoy and like to hear, is the reminders about biting the inside of the cheek and clenching the jaw and that kind of thing. So here I'm just randomly connecting these orbs all with an elongated S shape. No rhyme or reason, no right or wrong. Do what's best for you. Yours will not look like mine. It's not meant to. This is for me to show you the main parts of the tangle. And then the real goal is for you to take this tangle and make it yours and do something you about it, right? Add your you, whatever that is, to the tangle. And so we're going to continue to do this and connect all of these. And while we do this, this is where I really recommend checking in with yourself. If you find the pen is skipping, is it because you're pushing too hard? Or is your hand starting to hurt because you're holding the pen too tight? Have you noticed that you really are clenching your jaw so much that it's causing you to also clench your toes? There are so many things that we get used to doing in everyday life that we think are okay, but they're really just stress invoked things that we do to our body from everyday life. And a lot of these things in everyday life that we allow to be stressful are things we have no control over. So really working on surrendering and letting those things go so that you can enjoy the time that you're creating this art, which is from your own intuition, what makes you happy. And that is what I really, really love. So you may hear me say "and" a lot, that kind of thing. I do. I'm talking about the pen right now and how these pens, you really should store them lying flat versus up and down. And in these videos, once in a while, you may hear me ramble on about one thing and something else. And that is me and my ADHD just doing kind of whatever it wants. So just bear with me. For the most part, I've gotten really fantastic compliments. Now, I am starting a podcast called Meditate, Laugh, Repeat. You can find that on all social media platforms. There's no dots or anything like that. It's just Meditate, Laugh, Repeat. It's going to include a podcast as well. So if you want to go follow in those places, the first podcast will be coming out soon. And there's going to be a lot more information there that you're really going to love. This is a great time to recommend that you subscribe here on YouTube. I do have full class videos as well. Now, what I've done here is taken the pen and drawn an aura. So I am taking the pen and I'm essentially copying that line from the Cadent, and I'm doing it over and over again. It's just like if you know what the aura around your body is, that energy field, it's just like that. And so we're just going to repetitively do this, and I decided to do it on these first 3 Cadent sections. I don't know why, no rhyme or reason. This is just what I did. I just went with whatever my gut said, and this is what I did. Now I'm going to add kind of this little triangle on the end of each of these. And what I'm doing is I'm weighting the lines. And the best way I can explain weighting is instead of putting graphite pencil shading here, adding the ink is going to be darker. It's going to create more contrast. It's going to be bold. And instead of trying to do the same thing with a whole bunch of graphite or pencil, which would just make it look gray and muddy, this is just going to make it pop and give it a really cool look. So I'm going to do this on these sections because I like the way it looks. There's lots of different options. You don't have to do the same thing I do. I'm just teaching you the basic of the Tangle. And in this one, I'm just showing you a lot of other ways that you can do it. That's completely up to you. So on my YouTube, I have a couple of full-length classes that you can watch. They're a couple hours long for tangling. They can give you some really good ideas. I have a lot of people say, well, I'll draw a tangle and then I won't know what to do once I draw the tangle, like what I'm doing with this Cadent here. So I've showed you today how you draw a Cadent, but right now I'm showing you some things that you can do to the actual tangle itself. But I get a lot of people say, I don't quite know what to do once I get the tangle that you're teaching drawn. I don't know what to do from there. Well, many times that's because the ego is just getting in the way and wants whatever you're going to do to be perfect. And since we're perfectly imperfect, there is no perfect. This is where we just have to go, okay, you know what? I'm really feeling like I want to put some orbs in here. Or I'm really feeling like I want to just put straight lines in here or curved lines or whatever it is. This is yours. Go with it. This is why I recommend in my lives to keep envelopes from your mail and tangle on the envelopes. And then, it's something you can just throw away if you don't want it. I do recommend as you're tangling, I think tangles go through kind of an ugly stage where I don't really love it until I add some of the fun little things that I do, whether it's weighting or shading or charcoal. There's so many things you can do, watercolor. I think that's what brings my tangles to life. And that's usually when I've really fallen right into that amazing creative spot that I love so much and feel the most mindful and calm. So there's so many things that you can do. And here, this is just kind of what I decided here to put another cadent inside of the cadent. And then I'm putting another one inside of a section of that. And then I'm going to put another one inside the section of that. And what we find after this is all done is it almost looks like if you were looking maybe at a flowy flower petal, or maybe what I would describe as the end of a curtain, like the bottom of a curtain if it's all, or the top if it's all like wavy. And you will find that your tangles go places you couldn't expect. And that is the amazing part of it, is it just goes where it's meant to go. And the minute we let the ego sit back and just let our beautiful creative intuition guide our drawing, how wonderful it is to see the outcome. So take some time and just see what you like. Some of you may not like this. That's okay. I'm just showing you some options that I really enjoy. And when you see how the end of this tangle turned out, I love that as well. So I ended up, you can see I did that second row of weighting, and then I did the cadent inside another section of the cadent. And it's just so cool. So now I'm going back to weighting more of these sections, and I'm kind of alternating the rows. And I don't know why. There's no reason why, other than that's what I decided to do, is choose certain parts of cadent to do certain parts of additions to the tangle. So I'm going to speed up some of this weighting so that you can see how the tangle comes together. This took me 2 days to complete. I didn't sit down and do it for 2 days, but I would work on it for a couple of hours and then do it for a couple more hours. And again, for me, this is more than just a tangle. This is my meditation. This is my clearing my mind. This is my self-care. So my videos don't come out 2 seconds after they're completed, because I want to obtain the benefit that I feel there is from tangling that has to do with myself, my self-care, my mental health, all of that. So it's more than just tangling. Some things that I do like to do when I know I'm going to be tangling is I like to get into a space that makes me happy and comfortable. Here I'm putting a printemps, which is also called a spiral, but in tangling it's called printemps, and I'm putting that in one of the orbs. But I recommend getting what makes you happy and comfortable. For me, a lot of times it's just being in a really nice ambient lit place with some music, having everything I need in front of me. So I just feel like I'm ready to go. So here are some of these other cadents, and I'm putting printemps in them. And a lot of times when I do printemps, I like to draw one that's a little bit bigger, that with shading, I'm usually going to act as though it's the one on top of the other ones. And then you can see this one I'm doing here. I'm stopping at that first one I drew, and everything else is going to look as though it's underneath that. So these auras that I'm doing off of the printemps, I'm having stop at the original. Now this one, the same thing. I'm going to stop at the first printemps and go around and stop at the cadent. And what that will do is it will give the illusion that one of the printemps is above the others. But in this case, what I'm really doing is I want these printemps to look almost as though they're a floor underneath all of these cadents. And again, I'm just enjoying the process. So I'm taking my time. Speed tangling to me is not a thing. It's just not for me. So I'm doing this with a few of the open cadence. The other one, I'm doing the cadent inside the cadent, which is what we did when we did it live. And I'm kind of having them just go in a row, and I'm alternating whatever tangles I've already done. And this is where the mindfulness, being in the present moment, the repetitiveness of tangling is so important to me, because this is what, for me, my mind says, oh, we're just going to keep repeating this. Oh, I don't have to think. I can enjoy this time and relax. So I ended up adding to the orbs right here on my own time. And then I shaded a little bit here, but then I ended up doing some extensive shading, which I actually am putting on Instagram as a sub-only video. And this is how it turned out. I added some charcoal, white charcoal, I added some graphite, and I love to take it in a dark or dim lit room so you can see just how magnificent these touches can be. I love to pick it up and hold it. I recommend you do this as well. And see how when you move and turn your work, some of it just looks rounded or as though it's coming off the page, or it just looks so different when you hold it and move it. Especially here, look at that. That is this coming in, I just love it. So I recommend you hold your tile away from you throughout your tangling. And what I mean by that is while you're drawing it, while you begin shading, pick it up and hold it away from you so that you're not always looking at it from the perspective of looking down. Because when you hold it up and look at it, it's going to look completely different, which is why in my videos at the end, I hold the tile and move it so you can see the movement that the tangle in the drawing actually has. So you can follow me on all my social media platforms. I am Outside the LinZ, LINZ, on all of them. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet here on YouTube, please do that. You can follow me on all my other social media platforms, and I will see you real soon. Have a great day.